I'm going to try and keep this short and simple. So, theoretically, we can skip almost every fight in the game for Nier Automata. Let's go over the basics on how it works. So, this is our character 2B. It's a nice stick figure. And has a sword on the back and then like a spear, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't really look like it. Sword on the back. There we go, perfect. But anyways, this is our stick figure, 2B. And 2B is in this area. Doesn't have to be a rectangle. It's just some area within the map. All right. And this area contains a bunch of enemies. Like little stubbies. There's an amazing stubby right there. Maybe boss enemies. Like A2 or Eve or something. Whatever. So 2B can theoretically kill every single one of these enemies by deloading the map. The way it works is that there's a map right over here, map number 2. So we have map 1 and number 2 over here. And essentially, when 2B goes over to map number 2, all the enemies here may or may not deload, depends. But what's the important part is this. The map itself deloads. So from going from one area to the other area, you deload the map. The enemies may or may not deload. We currently do not know about whether the enemies deload when you go from one map area to the other, as it's hard to see. So if you were to do this while flying, or well, while in an aerial movement, so like you do a plunge from map 1 to map 2, after a certain amount of time, you could theoretically void out and go back. Well, because the map has been deloaded, what happens is it reloads the map again. Now, the question is whether or not the enemies were deloaded, because we don't know exactly the order. We know for certain that when the map reloads back in, animals respawn afterwards. This actually makes animal farming really easy, as you kill every single animal, you loot all their corpses, you go to another map and go back to the previous map. All the animal corpses are actually gone, but the game, for whatever reason, then thinks, oh, I just need to respawn all the animals. So all the animals you killed are now new animals. Cool. The question becomes about enemies. If you go from one map to the other, when the map deloads, if the enemies don't despawn, they'll fall through the map. And they'll actually die from voiding out. As enemies don't have that thing where if they fall far enough, they respawn back to the previous location they were at. Instead, they just die. The other idea is that the order that they redo this is enemies first, then the map, then the animals. These are the current ideas. This is like the load order. Amazing spelling of load order right there. That definitely doesn't look like an A with a little thing at the end of it. So enemies respawn, then the map loads in, and then the animals come in. If this is the way that they do it, then the enemies that are spawning in would die from voiding out. If the enemies don't deload but the map deloads, the enemies will fall through the map and die when you come back. Now, the thing is that every boss fight, every enemy fight has this kind of thing in it, except for a few. Um, Groon doesn't have it, as Groon actually isn't a boss. It doesn't have any interactable things on it. The only things are the cores. The cores themselves only become active when you're in the frame of reference. The resistance camp fight is so far away. The next map that would actually deload the previous map, so enemies would fall through the ground, is so far away that you actually cannot come back to it fast enough. But that is basically just the idea of what's going on.